Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, Saturday night for my friends in the US, and somewhere in between for Europe and elsewhere. As always, remember when you're asking questions, if you're here live, there's usually a 30-second to 1 minute delay depending on the buffering and the internet and things like that, just so there's no lag and things like that. Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear and everything like that. Looks good on my end. Hello to the regulars. Let me just go through the chat here. Luke, how are you? Yes, I changed the name of this stream. I think I changed it 3 or 4 times. I was really indecisive last night. I wasn't in a good mood. And initially I named this because I wanted to talk about this video that I dropped this week that got a lot of really good comments. I really enjoyed making it, about my time where I changed my life. It was a life I designed for myself, and it got to the point where I didn't like it. It wasn't that I was bored, but I just felt like I was going through the motions and I couldn't go any further. And I really needed to make a sharp left turn in my life. I kind of felt like I was just going back to the start of a previous life and recycling, you know? As I said in the video, it felt like I was rewatching The Matrix and trying to recreate the initial moment and try and feel excited about my life, but just by repeating what I did yesterday. Because I didn't know how to do anything else. Date the same way, same conversations, same sports, same entertainment in exactly the same way, rewatching, redoing, you know? And I just knew I just wanted something new and refreshing or slightly different and replace the old with something new at least, you know, move a few things around. I couldn't pretend to be refreshed by exactly the same things every single week. And sometimes I notice this and I ask, how do these guys do it? Maybe there's nothing better to do, I get it. Where I drop into streams and you hear them just reciting memes from the manosphere or reciting talking points from politics. Did you see what such and such did? And the Romans did this, and historically blah blah blah, and this many people did. It's all data, reciting facts, statistics, as a way to stay in a conversation where people can go, yeah, interesting, I agree, Bobby, me too, blah blah blah, pat you on the back, you pat me on the back. And it's really like a joke you've heard from your friend and he's saying it again, and you're polite and you just sit there smiling going, I've heard this 100 times, but let me smile and go, yeah. It's the same thing when I hang out with old school friends. 1 or 2 of them in particular, they just recite the same exact stories. No new reflections on those old stories. Verbatim. I can almost mouth what he's going to say next. Anyway. What brand of glasses are these? Big Ol asks. They're a no-name brand I bought off AliExpress a few months ago. And you just plug in your prescription. Actually, I'm not sure if these are prescription or they may just be reading glasses. I think they're prescription. They've got like a blue light thing for the screen. I'm not sure. It's a no-name brand. It's not any brand. Sorry, Big Ol. I don't know. I just got them for the look, and they fit me. I've got a big head. Anyway, okay. Hi, Big Ol Boffin. How are you, dude? Prince Revolver. David P. Silva. All right. Already a few questions. Great. Remember, if you would like to ask me a question during the stream, add 3 yellow emojis like this example here, smiley faces before your comment or question, and I will read it if it's appropriate for the stream. Because initially I wanted to do this stream just as a AMA, ask me anything. And then Pete asked me a really interesting question. I said, you know what? That's a great jumping off point. And then we can just go into questions for that, because I get it often, whether it's an accusation or an honest question. And that question is this. Pete says, something people ask me often as I have been in a relationship for almost 2 years now is, congratulations, Pete, I didn't know that. I haven't watched your stuff in a little while though, admittedly, so congratulations anyway. Go watch Pete's stuff. I remember he's very analytical, goes into every detail on a whiteboard. I'm not sure if you still do that. I must watch your stuff, Pete, the recent stuff. He says, this is what people say to Pete, and I get a similar thing said to me. All the stuff you used to talk about, in light of the fact that it worked out for you, now you're in a relationship, do you still believe that stuff? Or has being in a relationship proven you wrong? So to speak. And where is Pete's comment? I should have added. And the rest of Pete's comment, sorry, Pete, I just added it because I saw it. Oh, I saw it now. The rest of Pete's comment was, let me see. Following on from this, he says, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm really unorganized here, guys. Here it is. He continues, I personally hold the position that it's changed nothing in terms of my worldview, and I can tell some find that hard to believe, but I wanted to see how you would answer this question. So the gist of this is, you used to have an opinion before and make all these videos. Now that it's worked out for you, are you embarrassed by those things? Do you still hold the same view? Are they cringy? Blah, blah, blah. Do you still hold the same position? Or have you proven yourself wrong, as Pete says here, or as people ask him? And this is interesting because I get it in one form or fashion. I get it asked of me. And the short answer is no. If there is any video I'm actually really embarrassed about, I would take it off. And I've left almost all of my videos up, with the exception of one or two that just really garnered the most negative comments in the comment section. And I was getting warnings from YouTube, because it was more the trolls in the comment section that were fighting amongst each other and using the video itself as a campfire that they could congregate around and fight with each other. I kind of hid it, and some of those videos, like older women, the expired lottery tickets, where I talk about women when they, pass their fertility and how they change, and, the gaslighting that goes on in society and all of that. It was blunt, and I was a little bit more bitter. Nonetheless, a lot of the things I said in it were truthful, and I'm not embarrassed about anything I said. I would say it differently now, but I don't. Here's the thing. I haven't flipped on any position. There is no video that I've got up or anything that I've really said that I say I'm completely 180 on that. I'm embarrassed, and I am now completely flipped on that position. I can't think of anything. Even my cell marriage video that people keep referring to, where people say I'm a hypocrite now that I'm married. Take a look at the video. I wasn't saying you shouldn't get married and anyone who gets married is an idiot. People, like most things on the internet, people read the title, they've already made up their mind, and it doesn't matter what the person says in the video, they infer what they want to believe through the video. And another thing about people saying, having this sort of thing about you used to speak about this stuff and now you've either solved it or you're in a position in life where the stuff you were having a legitimate gripe about and trying to work out, does it seem silly for you because now you've solved the puzzle, or now you've passed that, you know? It's not a concern for you. Is that a bit cringy? And for me, it always points to, there's a lot of people that are still in that where I was, in their own way. They're still having these problems with women, relationships, unfair expectations, life, politics, not knowing how to act, when to speak up, when to keep your mouth shut, when to say something, how to say it, how to have the confidence. There's a lot of insecurity, and you get online and you just kind of let it out because there's no one there to censor you. You don't have to watch what a woman will think and worry if she's going to be offended because she doesn't know what you mean and you can't explain yourself well and yada yada. There's none of that. And I know for myself, I just got better at knowing how to speak, what to think, and what my values were. I was no longer wrestling with my values and saying, well, sometimes it's this and sometimes it's this, Bobby. It really clearly became, no, it can be this and that for different people, but for me, it's definitely this. And if anyone asks me, I'm going to talk about it from this point of view. If someone can convince me otherwise, fair enough. But I'm going to civilly and politely believe from this point of view. Man, it's really bright. I apologize. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of sun, and over there's a gate. It's painted white, and the sun's reflecting off it right in my face. So I should have put the blinds down, actually. Oh, well. You got to put up with it. But anyway, good enough for now. All right. Yeah, so, and there's another thing to touch on here. Thanks, Prince Revolver, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'll read out your comment too. Another thing I noticed, and I remember talking to Stardust about this back in the day, where people actually don't watch your videos. They don't listen to what you say. They think because they're in a position where they hate something more, whereas you're just disagreeing with it or frustrated, but you don't hate it or hate the people that are into it. But they really do. They're fighting against politics and stuff. I was just frustrated in the way people acted and what they believed in. I wanted to have a genuine conversation. I wanted to realistically in my life, through conversation, figure these things out so I can have friends and date better and have a more comfortable, serene life where I'm not always screaming into the void. I wanted to, at worst, scream at someone and let's resolve this. So I remember speaking with Stardust, and I think that a lot of people appreciate your thoughts on a subject that they're wrestling with, and they think that you're on exactly the same page as they are because you're talking about the same issue, the same problem. But I am tackling it differently. My perspective and how I would solve it, given my personality and how I live and my values and ethics, I am talking about it with my umbrella of personality and how I would go about it. They've got their own, but they hear me speak about this issue, like, let's just say, the problem of dating, or when women say one thing but mean another. They are frustrated and trying to work it out in a certain way with their personality and their experiences and the shit they've gone through. I am trying to work it out in a different way, but they just hear the topic and they go off running with it. It's like I've introduced the ball, if it's a sport, in this conversation, the video I'm making. Here's the ball called the frustrating part of women saying one thing but meaning another. They grab the ball and run down the field, and I'm like, whoa, no, I was going to run this way with the ball, but it's too late. So I think people hear you as their more eloquent voice through their head when they watch these produced videos. And I think that's why a lot of times they don't really hear what you're saying. And sometimes I can waffle on, like on streams where it's unscripted, where I'm just talking around the idea. But in the videos that I script and I try and structure as best I can to communicate and get to the target of the idea I'm trying to give you, I'm expressing something very specific. So if you look at this video here that I just dropped this week, I talk very particularly about my experience about letting go of an old life that didn't fit me and taking a risk. Some people might be feeling insecure about that same thing now. They might be in a part of their life where they're insecure, they don't like their job, they don't like where they are, they're living at home, and they want to break free in a different way. So they're hearing the same expression of frustration from me that they're feeling, but what they want to jump to, which direction they want to go and how they want to do it, what colors they want to paint in that direction are completely different with my palette of colors and in what direction I want to go. So the subject is the same. The frustrations are universal, but how you and I go about them is different. And so too, I think, is when you look back on what you used to believe in and how you used to express it, there are certainly some things that you cringe and say like, nah, I don't even care about those things, let alone expressing them with that amount of passion or thinking about them in such a black and white way. I'm fairly open-minded, I would hope, with most subjects. I can, in a fun way, rant. But I'd like to think that in the same way I want people to hear my point of view, I'm largely a live and let live person in terms of another person's point of view. I've mentioned this once or twice before. Some of the most notable conversations that have surprised me are from the people that I never thought would generate an interesting conversation. I remember a first wave feminist I had a conversation with. She was an old woman in her 60s when I was working in a studio many, many years ago. And as soon as she proclaimed herself as, I grew up in the 60s as a young girl and I was a first wave feminist and largely I see myself still holding those values, and I'm like, okay, lady, because at that time I was solely against feminism as I am today. And she was the first one that I could have the most interesting conversations with. Any discussion in the office, her and I were usually the ones speaking, and the other people in the office were looking at us and can barely drop in any interesting points. It felt like two physicists talking amongst normies who had barely an understanding of what physics meant. It was so I think a lot of people don't take into context an old video or an old opinion you had. And some people actually think that you should never, ever change an opinion. That there's something honorable as a guy, and I understand this reflex where you should stand by your words, because if you change, you're not an honorable man. It means you're a liar and you're a hypocrite. But if you ask me my opinion now about an old video or an assumption you made about an old video that I made, I will tell you now exactly how I feel about it. I'll tell you if I'm embarrassed about it, if I'll tell you that I believe the message, but I wouldn't say it in this way. And now through my life experience, I think about it this way, because just think about this, guys, listening to me. When I made the video, it was all based on the experience I had till that point. And now, years later, am I supposed to ignore all the experiences I've had till this point and the videos I make? Or you just like me making the same videos and you want to stay in the same spot? Is that what it is? Because I can't be that person. When the most frustrated times in my life has been where I've tried to stay at the initial safety point and rewind my life back, just like feminists do. They rewind some mythical patriarchy to when life mattered to them, when they had a light bulb moment and they felt powerful and brave and all that kind of stuff. So I find that a lot of people, guys, act like the feminists, where they think I'm not being honorable or I'm lying or I'm a hypocrite because I've changed in my life. But ask me about my opinions, and I would say 9 out of 10 of them, I'm on the same page, and I would be on your side, guys. I really would. And look at the videos I still have up in the past. I haven't got rid of them. I'm not embarrassed about any of them. I'll say, yeah, that's where I was. And what I said was true even now. Now I don't care as much. I have a more balanced point of view. I can see more of their side. I believe in it 100%, but I've said my piece. I don't need to remake that video again. So there's a varying thing of factors there. Let's go Prince Revolver. Okay. Let me read some of the comments before I go too far. What would make you take an old video down? Big Ol says. Again, if it's a lot of spurgs in the comments, or if I absolutely don't believe in it anymore. I think I took 2 down. They were maybe the first 1 or 2, first few I started making, I think, in the first few months, where I was just enjoying doing it, and I was bouncing off topics that people in MGTOW were making that I thought were cool, but I hadn't found my lane yet. So I was experimenting and just copying. But those are about the only ones. But Prince Revolver, thank you very much for the donation. He says, you put out Home is Not a Holiday 6 years ago. Yes, I remember that video. I remember commenting on that video about MGTOW being related to more than just women. Even back then, I knew something was wrong. The solutions to a lot of men's problems is in the real world. Yes, I agree. I agree. That is probably one of the things, if I'm proud of anything that I came up with myself, and I haven't heard any, and this is something I came up with myself to help me know the difference between a girl that is compatible for me and a girl who's just fun and hot. Is, does she feel like a fun holiday, or does she feel like home? And home is somewhere I can be completely myself. Yeah, home is, relationships should feel like home, not a holiday. And it's very hard to say no to, here you go, an all expenses paid free trip to the Maldives. All the food, fun, sun, surf, and sex you can have. Everyone will say, yeah. And you go there and you might not want to leave. But after a while, even the nicest holiday, you want to go home. I don't know about you, but I always get that feeling. But if you would like to leave a message like Prince Revolver, a super chat in particular, links just below this stream, or add 3 emoji smiley face things like this example before your comment, and I'll do my best to read it out. Boffin says, the idea that your opinions wouldn't change as you experience life in the fullness of time is simplistic and juvenile. I would say that. And also I think it talks to people's fear of change. I remember hearing that years and years ago when I was going through hard stuff and I was looking for certainty, and certainty suggests that you shouldn't change your mind. You find something certain and you hold on to it because it's true. If it's true now, why wouldn't it be true tomorrow? And your survival instinct would say, yeah, we're still alive today. What we really believed in yesterday, what we held on really tight to, don't let go. We're here now because we believed in it yesterday. What are you doing, Bobby? And so you hold on to it tight. And if anyone says, well, this is actually better now, today, for where you are, and you'll be like, I don't care. I'm alive because of this, and I honor this. And there's something sensible about that. You honor friends and people who have earned your trust. I've earned the trust of the beliefs that I held yesterday. So why wouldn't I honor that and hold it? They've proven themselves to be trustworthy. Someone else or a conversation says, maybe you should cheat on that belief that you firmly hold on to. It's like, I'm not cheating, I'm honorable. I'm not going to betray this belief. So that's a very hard thing to do, but we have to realize that beliefs are not people. better beliefs, especially where we are in life, because remember, what was true for you when you're a teenager compared to a young man, compared to middle age, compared to an old man, is the same truth that you need to adjust to with your physical capabilities. What you're able to physically do and enjoy when you're in your 20s in terms of sports and stuff, you have to do those or stop doing them later because physically you can't. You can't just adopt a physical lifestyle in your 20s, blow out your hamstring and continually blow out your hamstring and be in hospital because you stubbornly just want to keep sprinting all the time. You know what I mean? If anyone's interested, if you like this microphone, because I've got a few compliments over the last week, it is a very good microphone, although I like trying out different microphones. This one's the Lewitt 440 Pure condenser microphone. Beautiful microphone, low noise floor. If you were to buy one microphone, one condenser microphone that is the best bang for your buck in terms of its quality and almost completely silent noise floor, get this one. It is a great frequency response. I usually color my microphones to give it a little bit more of a radio voice and make my voice clear. This seems to work on everyone's voice, every instrument, everything. So yeah, highly recommend this microphone. I think I've got links to this on Amazon if you want to buy one below this stream. I'm not sure. I think I do. But anyway, enough nerding out. Remember, if you want to ask me a question, 3 emojis. Pete, how are you, man? He's the one that left the comment that I read at the start. He said, no matter how good you have it, it can end at any time. No matter how bad you have it, it can always get worse. Yeah. People are holding, sometimes people don't realize they are holding on to, you know, a dead horse. They're holding on to a hot coal and they refuse to. It's changed. It might have been cool and beautiful and whatever before, and it was exactly what you needed, but now it's become awful and uncomfortable. But you're honoring it because you're an honorable person and you don't betray what meant something to you yesterday. But beliefs are yours. They don't need to be confirmed by other people. And here's the thing too, your true friends, you've heard this before, if you change your opinion or you just want something for yourself and you want to do something for yourself, it's not against them, it's just for you. You want to go your way. You get all the crabs in a bucket shaming you like a bunch of schoolgirls. Human, you're all this and this. You're a shill, you're a hypocrite, you're a, whatever it is, a grifter. I've heard that because someone chooses to donate, as though I tell people they have to or they can't listen to any of my content. People's projection is amazing. Oh, you just this because of this. It's like, no, you do. Your relationship will end. No, yours will. You don't even know who you're picking. What if she leaves? No, you're worried about that. It amazes me. Oh, aren't you, like, even I can sympathize with guys who are alone, right? They're not lonely and they're fine being alone. I was in that position. And when people said, oh, you're going to be sorry, you're going to be lonely. It's like, I'm not lonely. You're worried about that. If you lost your partner or your social life, you're worried about the 4 walls. I'm not. I like being on my own. People project and shame you. There are a bunch of schoolgirls. There are very few people that can have an honest conversation and say, well, I see your point, but I disagree because of blah-de-blah. I know myself and this is how I want to live. You've got better information? Convince me. I don't know why you spend all your time trying to be correct and to convince someone. I understand you're trying to help people, but if they're your friend or you consider me and my channel like a friendly channel and you're trying to help me, stop debating me and shaming me into only your point of view. Anyone who's your friend will be happy for you if you're happy. So anyone who is my friend, and that was pretty much everyone. Everyone, when I started dating Stephanie and seeing her, and like everyone knew in real time, everyone I knew in my life that I knew I could trust, I told them what was happening, who I was dating. Then I got engaged. Then she came over. Then we got married and blah, blah, blah. I didn't tell the world because you've seen what the comment section are like. People have this parasocial relationship with you, and at the drop of a hat, they call you brother. And then when you don't speak according to their blueprint, they're almost puppeteering you through every video they watch of you because you're doing exactly and thinking and talking exactly the same, the way they infer and expect you to speak. But the moment you show yourself diverting and showing yourself as an individual, hey, I can talk with you guys. We talk about the same topics, but I have my own perspective. And you kind of shatter their opinion that your voice is the voice in their head. All of a sudden they have to contend with like, no, I have my own voice. You have yours. I have a slightly different opinion. Sorry, we're not as good mirror buddies as you thought. We're pals, but we might not be best friends anymore because I divert slightly or greatly to what you think. And that's kind of annoying and you feel a bit betrayed. But I didn't betray anyone. Everything I've done in my life, I've done for me. I don't think I've done anything against anyone else to feel better. And the people that get offended by my personal choices, I don't get it. You're projecting. Get a life. Seriously, go get a life. Enjoy yourself. I don't care what you do. Play video games all day. I know I've got friends that play video games all day. Some of them are happy. Good for you. Find something you enjoy doing. Find someone you enjoy doing. Let's see. Remember, if you would like to leave a message, have you got any hate, Pete? Let me know during this stream here, because I think you're still here live. Let me know with 3 smiley faces before your comment. What are some of the comments, or have you got any hate from announcing now you're in a relationship, you're with someone, and people's assumptions? Because it can be dangerous online being completely open, because my channel, I enjoy very personal, meaningful conversations, not surface, analytical, scientific stuff. That stuff's interesting, but how it can be applied to your empirical life, that's the most important thing for me, because that's where all the solutions lie, the solutions that can fit into your life. Not general solutions. I don't want one size fits all. I want possible solutions that I can Frankenstein into a perfect fit for my life. Sometimes they don't fit at all. So let me know what responses you've had, Pete. Striking it Rich says, wasn't your name different, Striking it Rich? It was something else, wasn't it? Was it Mr. Highway? No, it wasn't Mr. Highway. Mr. Highway changed his name as well. He says, did you get married for religious reasons? No. If not, then why not just cohabitate with your girlfriend? I was going to, but this is one of these things I find hard to objectively explain to people, and part of me doesn't feel the need to explain myself. It's kind of like, you know, when, like, for example, I'm answering the question, I'm not evading it. You know how I've never wanted kids and I never want kids, but I talk to my friends who have kids, multiple kids, and they love their children. It's the best thing in their life. They can't explain it to me, but the way they're expressing it's just the most important thing, and I just need to accept it. So many people have that point of view, even if it's not mine, that I just accept that they subjectively find it very important. It wasn't important for me to marry Stephanie. And in fact, I told her, I never believed in marriage, and are you okay with never being married? Because I'm happy with us just being together, and that's it. She was fine with it. She's a very girly, romantic person, but she never pushed it on me. She doesn't want kids either. She's not a fan of religion, even like she's very anti-religion. I'm not. She's much more anti than me. I can see the pros and cons to religion as well, even though I'm not religious. When I met her, and I know she's romantic, and I know that she would like it, but wouldn't care one drop if we got married or not. And she was she was making plans to come over to Australia, and we were going to be together. Nothing was going to change. And before she came over, I remember going to see her in Holland. And in that moment, it's like, one day I thought in my head, I'm going to surprise her in 5 or 10 years, because I know it would be a really fun, nice surprise for her, like an anniversary gift. I'm going to be open to it. And then the closer I got to her, I said, why am I pushing that forward where I know I'll probably do it because she's the one for me? And then I just proposed to her because it was the right thing to do for me in that moment. It was subjective, and I don't know how to explain it other than I did it. I have no regrets. And yeah, I feel good. I still feel good about it. And also, I didn't realize, much like people who have kids, again, I don't want kids, after you marry someone, there is a depth of meaning for being married to someone rather than a girlfriend. It's not that, oh, well, yeah, it is harder for you to leave each other. It's true. But there's a depth and conviction, and I value us together much more because of this symbolic title we both have. I don't just love her. I love her as my wife. She's proud to be my wife. I'm proud to be her husband. I have a title and a role that's deeper and greater than just I'm Bobby and she's Stephanie. No, she is my wife before she's Stephanie. Like the caring about the noble symbolic thing, I didn't realize how much better and easier it would make our lives. We are taking care of something greater than our own subjective desires in a way. And I'm not saying I recommend it to people. I'm not saying anyone should get married. It's just something unexpected and positive I noticed. But I just proposed to Stephanie because I wanted to, for my own reasons. I can't explain it to you in the same way people who have kids can't explain to you why their little pride and joy is what it is in their eyes. And you could tell it means the most to them, but they can never produce the words to explain it. But you just need to take it as a given because so many people feel that way. So that's all I can say. I hope you get an idea of why. And yeah, I could have just lived with Stephanie, but I didn't want to. I wanted to marry her. Oh, come on. This sun. All right. More comments. Pete says, the people who called me traitor were in the minority. I lost a decent chunk of subs. So did I. Although, yeah, I think in percentage, I think the people who actually listen to what you say and the people, most of your subs, correct me if I'm wrong, most of my subs, I would say 95% of my subs, are the kind of people I could have in a Discord chat afterwards. By the way, if you've got a microphone, any of you guys, drop into the Discord, onto my public Discord after this. We'll have a conversation about this. They're the kind of people that you would have a conversation with. You could hang out with. Most of the others, they don't say anything. They're the kind of people that put their microphone on mute and they only talk to each other by repeating phrases that make them sound intelligent. Like, I don't know, the divorce stats or the laws and politics. They always talk from a political lexicon rather than their own vernacular. From what I've seen in your videos, Pete, you seem like you're a person that knows how you think. You've got your own language. Your vocabulary is your own. Yeah, you've read from here and there, but you've formed your own viewpoints. And as such, when you meet someone, you have a better grasp on her being Jane instead of another woman that potentially can do A, B, C, D, and E. And you're always a defensive, twitching bird, making sure that she's in your frame. I gather you're not that person. You're too intelligent for that. And with me as well, I'm trying to find, I was open to my Jane or my Stephanie, but I wasn't dating women. I was dating, trying to find my person. I was very aware of the narrow corridor in which my person may or may not reside. And I knew I didn't really think I had a great chance of finding anyone to be with. And that's not kind of like, oh, sob story, you know, throw me $1. It's, no, that's the reality. It's very hard in the West, especially. The kind of poison political brain that most women and guys, but especially women that you try and date, they got these entitled Beyonce talking points and belief systems, and they believe everything they read and hear, makes them feel powerful, makes them feel safe without a guy. So they imbue a cartoonish tough guy aspect within themselves so they don't need to have a man around them, so they can feel safe because government has them, you know, all that kind of rubbish. And you're not really talking to Jane, you're talking to Jane hidden behind walls and walls of safety. And I haven't got time for that. Just like people who say, well, it's because this happened to me when I was a kid, and this, like, no, it's just another wall. Treat me the way you would enjoy being treated, you know. Otherwise, I don't care. We're adults. Stop. I'm not dragging a child around because I've got the intelligence to see who you are underneath, but you refuse to show it to me. Go to therapy or find someone else who wants someone as broken as you, or I don't know. He continues, decent chunk of my subs in aggregate growth continue because people know that having a relationship won't change me as a man. Yeah. I don't think the core of people really changes just up until puberty. Maybe to some people it changes to a greater extent than others. But I think the people that know you, here's the thing, all the people that I talk to, even in my life and even online, all of them tend to say the person I tend to be in videos and streams when they talk to me one-on-one tends to be the same person. And to me, that's a great compliment. Whereas how many content creators that present or are extreme or controversial, you hear them in the chat and they're very different. The way they present is very, very different. It's almost like you can't believe it's the same person. So I wouldn't call it fake, but there's a lot of people who literally have a very, very different curated persona. And when you discover who they are in their real life, what they're hiding and how they try and live a double life, it's very different. I've never thought I'd lived a double life when I am out there dating. It's just that when I'm dating, that's the real world. I see a very big difference between the real world and the ideas I share here. And most of the ideas I share here, whether it's now or in the past, still hold water. And you can bring up any old video I did, and I would be able to talk about it, try and remember what the video was about, where I was coming from, and I would largely hold more of the views, but I would be able to revisit that video in an interesting way. There are so many of the old videos that I said that I'm very proud of, but I'm just not going to make another version of it. I think they stand well on their own. Like someone mentioned, home is not a holiday. Another one is the holiday test. Take a girl on a holiday and on your own, go somewhere, especially remote, not a hotel. Go somewhere like Vietnam, India, Nepal, somewhere where you have to rely on each other, stay in a cabin. You have to go shopping and they have to cooperate, participate. You have to be a team. See what her personality is like under pressure. Does she think of you when you're preparing food or going somewhere, or is she always forgetting you and on her own? How independent is she? How independent are you? How ready are both of you to do this? Or are you just two people staying in parallel, but you're both in separate lanes? So there are a lot of videos I've done that I'm happy I'll work through, and you know, I made some insights that I'm proud of and that I still use for myself, and I hope a lot of people have chewed on them and made them useful as well. But yeah, Boffin said, put 3 circles before your question so I can see it in the stream. I'm not ignoring your questions, guys. If you don't put 3 smiley faces like this before your question, I won't see it. How often do I have to say it? All right. Yeah, I see that you just pretty much do Q&As now, Pete. I'm gonna listen to the last couple of streams you did over the next few weeks. You know what it's like. Life gets in the way. And now when you've got another person to share time with, and you get older, time just kind of shrinks. And you don't have as much time. I don't have as much time to exercise, visit family and friends, and sometimes even spend quality time with Stephanie. We have to make time. It's just like time evaporates. So, yeah, I've got to watch some of your videos, Pete. No, this is not personal at all. She doesn't want kids because she doesn't like children. She's not maternal at all, even less so than me. She feels like they intrude, and yeah, when you're out in public, we really have a negative reaction. We can't stand being around kids who misbehave, especially loud kids, and the stupid parents who don't tell them to be quiet. That they think their screaming failures should be in the ears of everybody. And you know the people you see they're on the phone and their kids are screaming and they're still talking to their friends while their kids are screaming. That's their world, I guess. And I think, yeah, that's why I had a problem dating women. I was dating those kind of women who are comfortable with chaos and drama and don't know what respect and, you know, imposing on other people. They're just not self-aware at all. Those are that's the majority of women. That's what you're dating, a variation of them. When they go on a date, they mimic you, they show what they think you want to see, but at the end of the day, you get them, and at the honeymoon period, they're that person who just scrolls on their phone and doesn't mind loud noise, intrusion, drama, and gets bored very easily. So, yeah, this question of like, do I still believe in the things I used to talk about before? Yes, largely I do. Ask me now, though, and I will tell you exactly how I believe in it. Come on, son. I don't believe in it exactly with the same words I may have before, but I still enjoy talking about them. I have something to say. And as I said, I think most people are just projecting. They want you to be exactly chained to the point in life that they are, and it's great and comfortable, and it's a holiday they never want to leave. And when you say, yeah, I'm done here, fellas, I'll still drop in, but I can't live here anymore. But I'm still your buddy, and they'll be like, Judas, or whatever, you know, hypocrite, you betrayed us. If you're not with us, you're against us, that kind of thinking. And it's like, well, because I want to live somewhere else, I want to try something else, I want to color outside the lines, I want to question. Notice when you ask questions to people that are kind of like that extreme, like, you know, like someone who's a fundamentalist, where you can't even ask them a polite question, play devil's advocate, and say, well, what would you say to people who ask this and they take offense to that? Every question you ask, or any question you ask about the idea that people believe in, is like you're insulting their child. They're not intelligent people. They're just not. Remember, a trait of intelligence, one of the biggest traits of intelligence is adaptability. And these people cannot adapt. They refuse to. They are 5-year-olds who stubbornly refuse to adapt their thinking, even in the moment, to entertain a different thought. I think it was Michael de Montaigne who said, a sign of intelligence is your ability to entertain an idea without believing in it. These people won't even entertain you saying, well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I think this now, or I've actually experienced this in my life, and if you go about it the right way, or if you want to get married, it's not as bad as the boogeyman people make it out to be. But I'm not recommending marriage for anyone. They won't hear that. Ah, hypocrite, I'm smarter than you. It makes them feel great, makes them feel safe. They go back to their little clubhouse. They go back into their crab bucket, and all of them are clacking away and saying how they're all alpha sigma males that are too smart to do the things that, you know, I went back to the plantation, basically. I don't care. Realistically, this is how stupid some of these people are, right? Objectively, some of the smart, I'm using smart in a facetious way. What do you expect me to do, right? I found someone I trust, I love, and I want to marry despite my opinions of marriage before. I want to, right? Do you think now, because you say, oh, you had a slightly different opinion before, or we think you lied, do you think I'm really going to end my life with Stephanie now and go, oh, sorry, fellas, that I don't know. A few of you, 4,000 or 5,000 spurgs who left in a huff and took your ball and left the playhouse. Come back. Come back. I'll leave Stephanie, please. You're retarded. You guys need to... You don't know... This is the reason some of these black and white thinking, unreasonable people, you can't reason with these people. This is why you can't make friends outside your bubble. You can't meet a girl outside your bubble. You can't talk to anyone because your only reason resides in this very esoteric little... You might as well be a nuclear physicist. And you wonder why no one else is a physicist like you. You can't adapt. You know, if you believe what you believe, why so angry? Why so serious? I don't have any more patience for him, like, in case you haven't noticed. I gave up a long time ago. These guys, oh, you don't care about men. I don't care about you. You're a spurg. Go away. Like, as soon as I say Superman's better than Batman, you want to destroy, like, you think, oh, hypocrite, loser, idiot, I'm leaving. You think Superman's better. Look, go back to your convention and cosplay your way through relationships and stuff. Put on your cape. Be the hero. I don't care. I'm interested, no pun intended, in being a human being and talking with other human beings. You guys put on superhero outfits. Not you guys, but I'm talking about the minority of spurgs that do drive-by little comments in my comment section. Robbie says, I'm very similar to you, human. I'm very happy for you and Steph. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am very happy for me and Steph too. And I'm happy for Pete too. Good on you, Pete. You've been with her for 2 years and you still sound, you don't sound angry. You sound well adjusted. Are we talking about how people get older, life happens and our opinions and biases are subject to change, and when they do, people call you a hypocrite? Yeah, something like that. But people don't realize they're doing it. Ricky says, I think we were for a certain person for a certain time, but just as you lose the training wheels when you no longer need it, you don't need to be told what you already know. So, human, how surprised were you to find someone like Stephanie at this stage in your life? Very. I didn't just say I gave up on relationships just to, you know, have some sort of eloquent or beautiful talking point. Like, yeah, I'm giving up from, like the way the Sigma males say, I walked away from women to make themselves feel better. I just walked away and I didn't care. I deleted all my dating apps. I deleted every profile picture that I'd used for the last few years on my dating apps. I burnt it. I actually had an intentional digital funeral with all dating. I stopped going on dates. If anyone would recommend a date in family or friends, I said, no, I'm done. Like, I have no interest. I actually just went monk in some way or fashion. I didn't care, but it was a very calm way of doing it. It was just an acceptance of, I just don't want to spend time doing it anymore. I felt time, the days would just go so quickly and the weeks would just disappear. And I would, from time to time, checking the little bleeps on your phone and checking your dating apps and calling people back, and an ex calls you catch up for coffee again and hook up with this girl and date this girl. And this, it was just the same thing over and over again in the same way I talked about in my last video here, where it was just the same Tuesday, the same week. And also this happened when my dad passed away too. So a lot of things happened around the same time. And I just decided, nah, new chapter. I'm going to enjoy the autumn season of my life now. I'm no longer in spring. I tried it. I gave it my best shot for a couple of decades dating, and I learned a lot, but I'm just tired of finding a needle in this terrible haystack here in Melbourne. And truth be told, Stephanie found me more than I have found her, because I wasn't looking at all. She sent me a email. She wanted to discuss a talking point. We talked for a short while, and I was really hooked on the conversation, the way she thought about things. And we were writing literal short stories in every email the first few times. I would be writing, 3 to 5 page essays, and she would too. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I want to have a conversation with this person. And so we had a private Skype session, and then one thing leads to another, and the rest is history. Andri says, do you think Stephanie turned into someone you idolized in your mind, or were you afraid to lose a chunk of yourself as you became more connected with her? I was I feel like with Stephanie, I came across girls here and there on the odd chance, even girls that were very attractive talking to me. I talked to them, said hello, but I was dispassionate. I didn't care. I really did. It was like I was talking, every woman was almost like a married woman. I don't care how sexy, hot, or interesting you are. To me, you're like a married woman, and I don't care. It's like, because I've never gone for married women. And to me, it's like, you're off limits, whatever. But it was that kind of cold, uninterested, like, yeah, you're attractive and like blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you. She was interesting. See you later. Enjoy your life. I had no pursuit in me. I didn't care. Stephanie actually made me really interested in her as a person. I really enjoyed the conversations. It was like I was talking to a friend who thought the same way, but different perspectives. And the more I got to know with her, I thought she was cute, and then one thing led to another. So maybe analyzing these things in retrospect is hard, because you can justify them in poetic ways. And I don't want to make you think something it wasn't, but I didn't idolize her. I liked who she was in that moment. And then an image of her grew, and I realized I could tell why I enjoyed spending time with her. I could tell why I liked her and my feelings were growing. I could tell you the values by which she was attractive to me. It wasn't just, she's fun and I find her pretty. No. I could name actual virtues that I respect in people. Her trustworthiness, what right and wrong in different categories mean to her. And I was impressed how she would never contradict herself in those values. So her, for want of a better word, her virtues really impressed me. And that's what I fell for over time. iScreen says, is there something specific that a man can only learn from a woman and not from another man when it comes to maintaining a long-term relationship? Oh yeah, almost everything, because a lot of the stuff you talk about with your friends are the things that you should stand up for on your own before you meet a woman. When you meet a woman that's compatible with you and that you can trust, you learn things between the two of you that you never would have come up with yourself between other men. There's a conversation that comes. I learned things from a woman's point of view that I didn't really see, because I learned them from a distance or scientifically or anthropologically. But when you learn them from the person that you're connected to, they mean more, because you learn why they're important to her, not why something's important to all women. Because in the end, what I learned from Stephanie as time goes on matters more than what women want. Some things that Stephanie wants touches on what most women want. Some of them very, very much. Some of them almost nothing. Kids being the obvious one. She's very anti-kids. Most women are maternal to one degree or another. She doesn't have that switch, thankfully. Pete says, I genuinely have covered everything I wanted to, even with that to the side, though I agree. Even that to the side, though I agree. So much time goes to sleep. So much time goes to sleep and work. The rest goes to time together or my time. Yeah. I had so much time to myself before that I could, make videos, run 3-4 times a week, train almost every day, see all my friends in the week if I wanted to, family, write essays, make between 3 to 4 videos if I wanted to a week, really nicely produced ones. And I much prefer this rather than a lot of free time and describing a perfect world and a world that ought to be, is living in one that is happy. And yeah, we can talk about what ought to be in an intellectual way, but I'd rather have something I can touch, a tactile life that I can talk around and use it as experience, rather than theoretically talking about these utopias, like women need to, and we need to go back to this, and the government needs to. It's like, women talk this stuff as well. The government needs to. Women need to be protected. Men talk, oh, men need to be. It's all these separate people going through their own shit. I know everyone goes through their own problems, wanting each other, but hating each other, and then wondering why they can't be together and refusing to budge from their scared, independent little axioms. It's frustrating, man. Silva says, there's always new viewers. I'm afraid you will have to keep saying it as long as you have the live streams. Yeah, true. I don't mind. Like, there's a lot of the basics also. I might kind of spurg out a bit and have a rant here and there, but it's also me expressing what I believe in and what I stand up for. I get it. I'm not going to be tired of talking about the things that matter to me. But, and it's a good way to remind myself of what's important to me. And that's why sometimes I talk about similar subjects in videos I title differently or from a different angle, because those areas of life and relationships, I think, are big pillars of where people have problems and where they slip up and where the failure points of relationships are. For instance, first dates or communication. Yes means no. What if she wants this and you want this? Or women tend to want this, but how can I be honest? There are a lot of very basic universal things that most guys come up against, and addressing them, the same kind of confrontation points, failure points, are really important to keep reiterating, because a lot of times if you get through them, your relationship doesn't have any more problems. And sometimes a person didn't watch that video I made a year ago. If I redo the video from my perspective now, with a slightly different angle, with a slightly different title, I can readdress those points again and keep refreshing them. It's like going to the gym. There's certain basic exercises we need to do for the core parts of our bodies. You can't just say, like, I did bench press last week and I'm never doing it again. These things are healthy things for, your relationship mode if you're out there dating. Unfortunately, people are training stupid body parts and wondering why they're not getting anywhere. All right, I think I've answered most of the questions. Jordan says, I'm 36, decided I have given up on friends. They are always busy with kids and making excuses. Can't get one out to golf in 12 months. Have you experienced anything similar? Yeah, I experienced that when I was single. But even now as well, the people, all my mates from high school that got married in their early to mid-20s, had kids and everything, could never catch up. They spend more time with other kids. The kids, they go to play groups and birthdays. They spend time with other parents. They start talking about junior, their job, their new upgrade on their iPhone, just general pedestrian stuff like football and, Jeremy loves beans. Samantha, she loves cauliflower. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to denigrate, but the conversation is so just descriptive. It's just describing stuff without any depth. And I don't mean not in an intellectual conversation all the time, but no personal conversations at all. It's just all surface conversations. I bought this dress. Johnny did this. Margaret likes this. I went here. Samantha said this. Can you believe what she's wearing? Did you see the latest article? Oh my God, virtue signal. What's happening in the Middle East? It's like, can you tell me something about yourself or what you think? I don't know. Maybe it's more a single conversation, and also some of the I get the feeling that one or two of the wives didn't like their husbands hanging around with a single guy who was out there dating. Didn't want me maybe whispering in his ear, giving him ideas. Not that I would. If my friend's happy, even if he wasn't happy, I would never tell one of my friends to leave your wife, dude. I'm not going to be responsible for you breaking up a marriage and leaving your kids in a single parent household. But I did get that. Definitely. All of my high school buddies and close friends when I was in my 20s, they drifted away, and they got new friends in their kids groups. They've got friends who have other families who are doing the same things. And it makes kind of sense. All they talk about is play groups and work and buying this and going on holidays with the family and how such and such has grown up from last year and what they're doing. And only one of my friends, one of my best friends, we just talk like guys, like we always have since university, my good friend John. And the rest of them, it's kind of very hard. They don't really have their own thoughts, or they express them very, very infrequently. They just generally at barbecues talk surface talk. They talk group conversation talk. That kind of talk. You go to people and they talk with everyone. I like talking one-on-one or a couple of people, like around a very focused topic. Because when you talk on a focused topic, the majority of people in a larger group, they just kind of like, they have to stay silent. And so it's awkward in a big group. Whereas I feel in a big group, I'm the one that goes silent because there's not many words I can say on the surface about describing the world. Like, there's a fence. Ah, there's a bin, there's a car, there's a roof, there's a sky, and it's like, Across says, this reminds me of the old adage of the more you focus on one thing to the point you go mad over it, the least you'll get it. Meaning focus on other things and let life happen. Yeah, they don't concept connect. And to me, that kind of belies a lower level of intelligence and fear, because rather than noticing a truth, say in the manosphere, which there are a lot of truths and a lot of informative things, rather than noticing that and connecting it to another concept, they just stay there and they overanalyze. They get under a microscope and they just go deeper and deeper in a very, very narrow focus view, instead of like getting rid of the microscope, realizing the details of what is plainly true or what is useful, and looking around at a connected view. Okay, women might be like this, and then there's this chick I went on a date with, and here's my parents, and this is what I want, and this is how I live. You have a real world view. Don't you think that going under a microscope makes you smarter? It makes you dumber, because it's not applicable. You refuse to get out of this. You go on dates like this, and you wonder why it's weird. They see you as weird, and you don't get along and can't talk to people. Your comfort zone is your few overly intellectual microscope friends online or on your channel or in the comments section. And it's fine to have good friends. It's fine to have someone to speak to, but they'll always be there. What's wrong with coloring outside the lines, talking to different people, asking questions? And if your friends shame you for asking questions or challenging your assumptions in the bubble, you know they're not your friends. They're trying to keep you in the church. Any good church will allow you to explore your thinking, and if it is a church, they're smart enough and they're confident in their church of thinking enough to explain the point of view to convince you. If they can't, bad luck. And this is what I would say to people who try and shame me for the life decisions I've made, and they're my decisions, and I'm not going to change them for people I don't know and who are frankly not living my life. For instance, let's say kids, right? When people say, oh, you should have kids for society, you're a hypocrite, whatever, kids. Convince me. Sell kids to me. I haven't heard an argument. I made a video, sell marriage to me, but no one convinced me to get marriage. Marriage. It's a word. It is a word. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of scared people who don't know what they want, and then they refuse to explore who they are, to know what they want, to be confident, to learn from their empirical experience, to know what their ethics and values are, to know why they love Chicky Poo and why they rejected this chick. No. They've just got a very, very shallow rule book of rules, and this woman's high value, this one's not. Because why? Because they're the rules of the church of men out there. But if the men and your brothers will shame you like a bunch of schoolgirls and won't be your friend, if you just want to do something in your life that they have no say in at all, then are they your friends? I would offer, if it was me, no, they're not my friends. All right, let me see if there's any more questions under my posts on my channel, and let's wrap this stream up. If you have any more questions you want to ask before we wrap the stream up, please add 3 smiley faces like across here did. Here we go. I asked, should I feel embarrassed about my older videos? Prince Revolver said, No, your older videos are still more sound than a good chunk of what's put out by other content creators. Thank you. Lord of Iron says, everything you've done led you to this point in life, even the so-called embarrassments. That is true as well. I don't think so. No, I don't think so either. Not at all. Thank you, guys. Yeah, look, I'm not surprised, but, you know, some people think I should. It doesn't make a difference to me. Like I said, if I'm embarrassed of something, I'll admit it, or I'll take the video down because it's no longer in any shape or form something I can defend. It's like me putting up tree forts, skateboards, you know, toys that I played with when I was a kid, all of that sort of stuff. It's not going to be up. That's something that's embarrassing or not who I am now. And that's firmly in the past. And I have absolutely no interest. And it's cringy for the person I see myself now, as not just as an older guy talking and showing that stuff, but there's absolutely zero there. I don't need to honor that any more than I would honor my childhood. Some of these people who were even traumatized by their childhood, they still hold on to it and they think it matters. You know, the people that say, well, you have to respect the past to know where you're going. These beautiful poetic sayings. Some of the past you have to let go. You really do. Some of the past is in your DNA and it'll never leave, and you have to be aware of it to learn about who you are going forward. But there's some of the past that's just moments in time that you have absolutely no interest in, you never refer to, doesn't influence anything, and is just you hoarding old bullshit that frankly should be thrown out. All right. Rafael says, it never gets easier, you just get better, and better has no finish line. Yeah, that's a good saying. I agree. I agree. NN says, the rhetorical white elephant in the room question, however, is this: can she really love you for who you are? Well, for all evidence I've seen now, yes. I think there's a lot of people who want guarantees for, like, you're going to have a 10 out of 10 relationship in the views of everyone else. Everyone else has to see my relationship as a 10 out of 10 that lasts forever at a 10 out of 10 in their eyes until the grave, right? But life is like, what is my 10 out of 10? What do I appreciate? Is my life better? Do I enjoy spending time with her? It's more contextual than this. And what I can tell you definitely is Stephanie really likes and loves the person I am compared to the other women. The other women like lifestyle, they like money, they like the showy stuff, the mask we both had on at certain times to stay together. Basically, they love the holiday that you both kept peddling in. But Stephanie just likes staying at home with me and spending time. She used to, and me as well, but more so her. She'll even tell you if you watch our streams on our channel, where she used to be much like me and a lot of you people, where you are fine on your own, you like your alone time, but now we're so used to each other that when she has a day off, she doesn't know what to do with herself. She gets bored very quickly, and she's waiting for me to come home because we just enjoy spending time together. I look forward to going home from work when she's at home on her own, you know? So she just likes hanging around me. We just like spending quality time with each other. We don't have to impress each other. I don't have to keep taking her out to dinner, otherwise she'll leave me. I don't have to keep doing X, Y, or Z. And the only glue that keeps us together is spending time together, chatting, watching movies together. Basically, all the stuff I enjoyed doing on my own and she enjoyed doing on my own is better now because we do it together and we enjoy doing those same things together. So in that sense, I can demonstrably say that Stephanie loves me more for who I am more than any other girl. Obviously, I can't see into her brain like how exactly she loves me, but it's about, from what I can see, it's about just who I casually and naturally am. And she finds a lot of those things endearing and cute, and I'm just doing some normal stuff, and she smiles and gives me a hug because she just likes the way I am and I do stuff. I'm not even trying to impress or do anything, you know? So you really just need to find someone you can enjoy spending time with as yourself. And that amounts to a compatible person. I don't mean a compatible person that's going to agree with everything you say, but a person that naturally has the same values of you. You both turn up to the table with not trying to show off, but right away saying everything you want to say, not censoring yourself, ripping the Band-Aid off, being as talkative, shy, nervous, or whatever, and the other person realizes it's the real thing. And the longer I've spent with her, she's never contradicted herself once. Her personality hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. She's the most genuine person I've been with. But that also has to do with that we're a match. Because she will tell you, and me too, that I was guarded with certain people who aren't compatible with you. And that's natural. You are guarded, so you're never completely yourself. You should be, and I tried to be, and as I got older, I got better and better and better at being immediately myself and not caring what she thought. Even if she was like a 10 in looks, you know, she was really hot, I just went to every date on the default in the final years before I met Stephanie. I don't care. I'm not wasting my time. If I like her, I want to like someone who's real, who likes me back. And I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid straight off and tell her exactly who I am and what I'm about and what I'm into. And if she shames me or laughs at me or turns her nose up at anything I say or do or act, then it's like, good. At least you know you don't like the real, that she doesn't like the real me. I'd rather her be impressed and like all of this that's coming out, like the way it's coming out to you in these streams. Someone who finds that interesting, and then they can bounce back with their own interesting, you know, verbal diarrhea and interesting picadillos of what they're into and points of view of life. And you could just tell they're being themselves. Like, no one can act this way. This is beautifully weird. You're just being yourself, and it's admirable. Admirable. Husbands and fathers know this. Neanderthal says, across the no children shaming game, I think a lot of people are envious, not on not having children, but not being dragged through it, just to end being a weekend dad paying for everything. Maybe. When people talk about all these things, you know, being a single parent and losing your kids, I sympathize, but also when you talk to them more and you ask them about the personality of their ex, and if they were like that for a long period of time, and they were young and naive when they got to them, and they only noticed that stuff later when they themselves became a more self-aware person, but they were already married, you know? So it's not like people would like you to believe that every woman out there is nice and sweet at the start, but afterwards, every single one of them turns into, you know, Mr. Hyde. Everyone's a beautiful, perfect woman, and then she turns into a monster that wants to tear you apart. You talk to them about their ex-Chicky Poo, and she wasn't a nice person. She had a temper. She was selfish. She didn't care about him. He spent a lot of time on his hobbies. That's the thing he loved. He tolerated her. They had kids. That was the only glue that kept them together. The kids, not themselves, but the kids or the holidays. You know, what's the glue that keeps you together? Just simple time spending with the other person, or all the window dressing? Does your Chicky Poo say, I'm bored? I'm bored. Do you always have to be juggling for her? Robbie says, children are a nightmare. Been in a long-distance relationship over 2 decades. We live apart. Me, dog shares my home. Time is passing very fast as we age. At 2 a.m. here in the UK, got to get some Z's in. Yeah. Yeah, long distance relationships are difficult. I did it with Stephanie when I first met her. She was living in the Netherlands. I was living here in Australia. Literally a 23 to 24-hour flight away. But when you meet someone that's so compatible, it's like, well, let's see if we can make this work. Across says, I'll be honest, human, regarding your old content, top notch. It serves a purpose. But your life changed for the better, so I would like to think so. Therefore, haters always going to hate. Yeah, and the old content, I had a lot of vinegar and frustration, and I'm not frustrated anymore. I've solved a lot of my issues, which weren't other people. They were my approach and how I thought and what I would simply not bother with anymore. You don't have to fight everything, you know? So you get very energized fighting the world. You do feel alive. I'll give people that. All right, I think I've answered all the questions. Thank you for the super chat, Prince Revolver, again. I appreciate it, man. Any last super chats or comments, and I'll wrap the stream up. And really says, do you see yourself perhaps making less videos or less live streams as the months go on? Or do you feel the opposite, that your relationship will give you energy for new topics? I have different topics. I've always made videos, even in the past, you look at the evolution. I made videos about where I was and what I was interested in my thinking. So I really enjoy making videos. Now you'll notice the last few have been more essays, more thinking in terms of the curious writer who's describing life. And I want to give you real life experiences and what I've learned as Bobby, rather than let's talk about women as a general concept and generally politics and generally statistics and stuff. Those very broad, general, big topics, it's very hard to distill them and get them to be the vitamins that you need to kind of work on dates that you go on. So I want to talk about the personal much more. So my videos are going to be much more personal, you know, more stories about, let me go back. I'll give you an example of it on the browser. For instance, like these stories, like the latest one, how I ruined my perfect life, how you tell her, not me. You don't rant to the guys online. This one, where I was on the beach, don't give up on yourself. Things like that, just everyday casual ones. I want to be hanging out and relaying everyday topics, experiences from my empirical life, which should be your final filter. Like, what do you think of all the information and what the guys say? What happens when you meet someone, when you go out there and talk? Have you got friends? Where are you now? Do you feel like time's slipping away? So I want to talk about very relatable personal stuff, conversations that, things like this, you know, it's okay to change your mind and why it might be hard for you, how your childhood has maybe affected you. Things like that, rather than just the one-trick pony of women bad, men good. I don't think you can learn very much from it. And there's a lot of antagonism. The most popular sites out there for that are things like the Whatever Podcast, Fresh and Fit, Pearly things, just very controversial. And they're debating and shouting at each other, but they think they're learning something. But they're not having a conversation. They just experience, look at how much men and women yell at each other. Think about this. I want you to focus on this, right? The channels, right, where, like the podcast channels where you see men and women antagonizing, yelling and arguing with each other, right? I'm right, you're wrong. No, you're a whore, you're this and that, like you're a hoe, and look, all this stuff. Think about the guys watching that, right? That's what relationships are to them. In the same way, if you're a child, You watch your parents fighting all the time, you go, I am never getting married. I'm never getting in a relationship. So if you're a guy now and all you watch is Fresh and Fit and whatever, and it's just these men and like the parental and the maternal fighting against each other, it's like, yeah, mummy and daddy are fighting each other. What am I learning from this? That I never want to go near women. I don't want to experience this stress. I'm not going anywhere near that. So if you watch those things, that is what is imprinting on you. In the same way, when you're a child, you look up and you see mummy and daddy at each other's throat, you go, I am not going near that later with a bar of soap. That is bad. That is dangerous. I don't like that shouting and fighting. That doesn't feel safe to me. I'm going over here. I'm going to my bedroom. That's how some of that affected me when I was very young and my mum and dad had fights as well. I was like, I'm not getting married. I'm never having children. I'm sure a lot of that imbued on me. So just think about the content you watch imprints on you in that way too, where you think, yeah, I don't want that, but that's what relationships are. And I don't care what you say, human. That's my experience. And I have too many logical talking points and data and statistics to back up my fear of that chaos that I see in front of me. And I watch all these channels that confirm the walls that I want to have to protect myself from all of that. And that's fine. It's not my life, it's your life. You can stay there enjoying that vinegar. It's fine. You can look at me as some sort of woo-woo mystic sitting on top of a mountain with his legs crossed. You can look at me as Skywalker on his island drinking that awful milk. But, you know. Melee says, being a true self. Ugh, that's become a cringy word, that now. I know what you mean, though. Being a true self is a vet in itself in relationships, whether they like it or not. Yeah, as in your true self. Yeah. People are so concerned about vetting women, vetting a good woman. But if you can vet yourself, this is a good point, Melee. If you can vet yourself, honestly, it's like, no, I'm not a good person, or I can't speak. You need to shape up, buddy, pointing to the mirror. It's like, you need to vet yourself properly before you point fingers at other people. There's no point you being a zero, nothing to talk about. You've got all your fears and insecurities. You're essentially looking for mummy. You're looking for someone perfect who will love you just for being you. And you're really not something to be proud of. If you are a female, think objectively. If you're a woman going on a date with you, how impressed would she be? Or are you just an inoffensive, polite guy? Being polite and just nice is the basic. If a person doesn't have that, you shouldn't even be on a date with them. You shouldn't go on a second date. You shouldn't be with them. You shouldn't sleep with them. That is the basics of any sane person to spend any more time with them. If they don't have polite niceness, I don't know why you're with them. I don't care how good looking they are. That is like that should be a non-negotiable for anyone, because then there'll be extra that might be compatible with you. These people that think, well, I'm nice and these women have high standards. What? High standards? More than nice? More than what everyone should come to the table with? Every single person should come to the table being polite, nice. Some people weren't raised well. Some people are morons, right? Disregard them. But any decent person that you have any chance with should at least have nice and decent and polite. Everyone should come to the table with that. But if that's all you got, the next guy could be nice and he plays guitar, or he can draw, or he's got a nicer car. It's not that women have high standards. It's because you're zero. Zero is nice. That's getting through the door. Okay, you're objectively nice, decent, and polite. That is great. Now, let's look at the individual. What has the individual got? Oh, I've got nothing. But isn't nice enough? No. No. Everyone should be nice. Everyone. High standards. Basic standards, yes, but fuck. Robbie says, I'm 58 next month. Friends come, friends go. Hey, Karu, how are you, man? Sorry I couldn't chat last night, dude. I was really tired, going to bed. And daylight savings today. The clocks went forward an hour, so I lost an hour of sleep as well. So I've only had like 4.5 hours sleep, I think. Neanderthal says, saw a video about some guy meeting his online gaming buddies in real life for the first time. They've been gaming together and talking almost each day for almost 10 years. See? Real life. Real life. I'd love to meet all the guys I talk to in real life. It would be an initial adjustment period, maybe for the first 10 to 15 minutes to be kind of like, oh my God, this is trippy. I'm actually seeing you animated and talking in real life, and we'd be laughing. But I'm pretty sure we'd settle in, and within half an hour, we'd be used to each other. And that was the same thing with Stephanie and I. We were Skyping. I mean, we would see each other and see each other animated, but seeing her in 3 dimensions, the real person, being able to kind of touch her and be with her with all my senses, that took a little bit of adjustment, a couple of hours. But after that, it is the person you know. Remember, if you want to leave a comment, people, 3 emojis before your comment. Otherwise, I do not see them. All right, I think that's it. No more super chats. No more. Silva says, but human, I've got a pulse and I'm breathing. I'm high value, bro. Yeah, I haven't said anything rude. I swear, women have got high standards. I haven't been an arsehole and she still won't go to bed with me. What does she want, bro? Maybe a sentence where you don't start or end it with dude or bro. I'm not talking about you, Silva. You know what I'm talking about. All right. We are done. Thank you for showing up. I had fun today. And let me know your comments below this stream. And if you have a microphone, jump on my public Discord chat. Let's talk more about this topic. You know, do you still have to believe everything that you said? It's funny to me when people call you a hypocrite because, you know, the internet is forever. You can have an opinion, you know, saved forever online, and they will say, ha ha, you're a moron because look, you said this. Yeah, but do you want to hear my opinion now? It's like, no, I want to make fun of you from this old photograph that's animated. It's dumb. It's you know what it's like? In a video sense now online, and because of comments and stuff, it's like now grabbing old black and white photos from World War II or the cowboy era, right? The 1800s, of barely when photography first came around, bringing those out. And if you could talk to them, you go, ah, dude, look what you are wearing. And that person's still alive and saying, yeah, but I'm not wearing that now. Like, can we calm down? Like, no, I want to make fun of you. Look at the cowboy hat and the stupid haircut and the dumb pose you had in this black and white photo back then. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. But I'm here and I'm wearing a t-shirt. That was me. But yeah, but you're a doofus. Look at you. Moron. Morons. Children. I don't care. I don't have sympathy for people who just want to play those childish games. I really don't. You're a bunch of schoolgirls. All these idiots who love making these response videos to how someone has become a hypocrite. Unless someone lied, you change. T-Dog asked an interesting question. What happened to Chester? Chester is good. He's all well and good. He had a mild stroke. We thought it was a brain aneurysm or something that was unrecoverable, and it really looked like 9 out of 10. It looked like, and the doctors actually said the initial diagnosis, it doesn't look good. Prepare for the worst. he may need to be put down, but it was the small percentage chance. See? You guys would have just put him, the guys in the manosphere would have just put Chester down. The stats, bro, 90%. Well, it turned out it wasn't. It was a mild heart attack, and he's on blood thinners, and he's back to normal. He's still old, but there you go. It is what it is. Take it for the moment. Just illustrated a beautiful point. All right. I think that's it. You can have a belief in different things at once. Yeah. There are a lot of times, like even now, I believe in certain things where in this situation I would do this, but in that situation I would do something completely different. They're situational. Yeah. Like a murder or things like that. It's like, yeah, it's terrible. You would never end someone's life. But then if someone was about to do the same to a family member of yours, you would end their life. A lot of it is contextual. Anyway, I'll say goodbye, and I'll join the rest of you in about 5 minutes on my Discord server. I'll see if Stephanie wants to jump on as well. If not, yeah, I'll just jump on my own. Because one of the questions I think someone asked was both to me and Stephanie. I think it was Luke. You wanted to ask something from me and Stephanie. But anyway. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm going to go now. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for turning up. Leave your comments below, and I will see you in the next video. And for those of you with a microphone, I will see you soon on the Discord server. Catch you later. Bye.